For this next zipper pouch, I have these two pieces of fabric available. I'll give you the dimensions on screen. It also comes from a sample book. When I look at the yarns, you can see it's yarns that I've used in the past. So here I've just chosen colors that will match now my fabrics, and I've looked at similar yarn weights. As you can see, I don't even have the labels any longer. I just know that these two belong to one series of yarns. This is even another one, and this one is also one on its own. But the colors tone in so lovely. Now we get to this one. This one is now a bit scary, I can almost say, for me, because I do not like this stem. I need to get rid of this stem. So now I've looked in my yarns. I'm going to do chain stitches because I know and I can do at least chain stitches quite well, and I'm going to fill this whole space with chain stitches, but I'll just bring it a bit down. The leaf is fine for me because it sort of turns into the picture and it picks up these browns. So for the stem, I think I'm going to take it up to maybe here somewhere. And I'm going to just something like this. Then I want to bring out the pinks a bit. So I have this embroidery yarn. I'm going to make a few French knots here on these flowers, and then also some of the leaves. Here I have an embroidery yarn that's not like white, so I think it tones quite lovely in. I'm going to enhance some of the leaves, not all, because these leaves have kind of shapes and then I don't know what to do there. So here and there I'm going to just embroider over a leaf. So let us start and see how it's going to turn out. I am now ready to sew up the pouch. You will see here I've given it now just an edging to repeat colors, the colors that was inside, and they're also really simplistic because the pattern is already so lovely. Then I just want to show you this before I start stitching it up. At the beginning of the video, you have now seen what my aim was. I, for instance, didn't think that I'm going to embroider all the leaves. I was a bit worried about the shapes of the leaves and I will not be able to do it. And actually, at the end, I enjoyed it so much and the shapes turned out lovely wherever I did it. It's as if the yarn just falls in place. You actually just need to start. For these French knots, I started off with 6 strands. And after I've done the demonstration, and I've now demonstrated how to make the leaf and how to make a stem that I can complete the picture, then the French knots also start to look too big to me. So I cut them all out again. And now there's a good life lesson. You cannot predict life at the beginning. You just need to start. You need to trust yourself because each of us has our own unique style and our own unique taste, what we like and what we don't like. You are going to develop into somebody that will be really creative if you are just allowing yourself to do what you like and develop that. Because surely you will not have this exact same piece of fabric when you want to now do a pocket like that. So that means I cannot now push my taste down on you, but I can tell you, start, and yes, you will make mistakes, but now with this, it's so easy. You cut it out, then again, and you start over again until who must like it? You must like it. You know, as a retired science teacher, when I do this, I think if more learners would have been creative at home, I would have struggled a bit less in the science classes on some days, because learners would face a problem and then they're too afraid to start because it doesn't make sense to them. And then I say, just start. Look at the data that's given. Write down a formula. Start ticking in the formula which of these are known to you and which ones you need to work off. And then it all opens up. So it's all about that bravery that if you're now in more unknown waters, that you just trust yourself and you just start the process, and as you carry on, it develops. I hope that it resonates with you and that you have maybe also experienced that. And if you have small children in the house, that you allow them to play, allow them to be creative, switch off the TV, give them the bag of fabrics and leftover things maybe that you have or that your mother has. We on the farm were quite often bored, and then my mom would just give us what we call the lappesak. That means just the bag with all the leftovers. And then we played with it, and we cut openings in it, and then we made clothes for the toys. And my mom didn't interfere and say, no, this is ugly, or let me rather machine stitch it for you. She let us sort of discover our creativity, and like that we grew. I think that's enough of a life lesson, but this piece of fabric has now reinforced what I've experienced over the years. Please tell me also in the comments if you feel the same and if you have experienced that kind of thing also, because I told my one friend, I want to combine fabric with crocheting, and I feel I need to be brave here. So Biggie, thank you, because she said you are already brave, and sometimes even a creator, because you expose yourself now when you put it there on for the whole world to see, and maybe they don't like it, but be brave yourself. I'm ready for the chain stitches that I'm going to fill this space. So I have also a thinner needle, because this yarn, it's a variegated one, but it is thin enough that it could go through the eye of this embroidery needle. So you start there at the back and put the thumb there on the work, and now I'm going to go first all along this line, because I'm going to fill the whole space. So I'll watch the left blue line, and I will go now all along this line. Always feels to me when I work with the ring that the ring is sort of in my space. I think I need a few embroidery lessons also to be able to enjoy working with a ring. I think the ring maybe prevent the thing from pulling in. Like that. And like that, I will just go up. It's really an easy stitch. What I'm going to do here for the brown stem, I need to color it in. So I'm going to use a white pencil, and then I'm going to color it in, because as you can see with chain stitches, there would be some spaces now, and then one will see the brown coming through. So I'll just first color it in. One could even use paint, fabric paint, but I'm going to try just with a white pencil. And now I'm going to fill this whole space. I have colored in this leaf a bit with a white color, that the brown underneath will not be so visible. As you can see, I'm making progress here with the leaves, and I'm actually enjoying it so much. At the end, I've decided that I'm going to embroider all the leaves. I did split this yarn, so I just take a shorter piece of yarn, and then I would embroider one leaf, and then I take another piece of yarn for the next, because as I work with it, it becomes thinner and eventually it breaks. Let me show you how to embroider one leaf. So let us do this leaf. There is the knot at the end of the yarn, and I just come out here in the middle, so see an imaginary middle line, and then I take the yarn to the top and come out just below that stitch, but on this imaginary middle line. Good. And every time you come out there at the middle line, just below, and like that, the leaf develops. And it is actually lovely. I like it that the the yarn sort of is a bit more fluffy now. So it sort of fills the leaf. So then one can still see my stitches, but it's more of a, it's not separate pieces of yarn. It's sort of flat. You can see there. It just makes such a beautiful little picture of the leaf. Let me just show you how I do the French knots. So it's just like that, and then I actually just go once over and I go back into that same spot. Doesn't have to be exactly the same, it can be just next to it, and then you will see. Then it's a little knot there. I must say I enjoy to make these French knots as well. So I'll do a few in every day. You can see how I've done these. So I'll done a few here where the dark spots are. It just lifts the color a bit. And then the last of the leaves. And then we can start making the bag. I'm now ready to start stitching up the bag. I found a label that matched the fabric quite well. Then I need to now sew up the tabs also. Then I've cut 2 pieces of lining exactly the same size as the outer parts of the bag. I'm going to make an inner pocket that I'm going to sew onto the lining. One just actually sew along these lines. It's 2 pieces same size on top of each other, and I leave a gap, and then I just trim the corners and I turn it inside out, and I sew up the open end, and then I stitch it onto the lining. Then it's an open pocket inside the pouch. The part that I'm going to demonstrate will be this, where I need to make a pocket here under, where I'm going to hand sew this onto the side of the bag. So I'll give it a zipper pocket. Here's the pocket that I've turned inside out. This is still the opening. So now I just make sure that the opening is not at the top, because then I can just do it all in one. Then I'll just make sure that it's positioned sort of in the middle, and then I'm just going now to stitch it to the lining up along the 3 sides. The pocket must be slightly narrower than the crocheted pocket, and the zip must be from somewhere here, then this must be the end of the tab, to somewhere here. So it works out quite well if I cut the zip just here, and now I attach the tab. It's just a piece of fabric, and normally for the zipper tabs you want a soft fabric, and then I pin it more to that side, because when I start stitching then it fits easily under the sewing machine. So if that is somewhere there, then the other tab must stop here. So I can cut this side. I can just cut to the inside of those metal parts. Let us see if it will be the correct size. So you always check, because if we look at the seams, it's about 1 centimeter. So that would be fine. Now I can cut off the excess. I put the zip down and I stitch from there up to there. The one side of the zip is now in place. It was face up, slided to the left, and you will see also there's enough space for side seams. Now I turn it like that. And now I take the next part of the fabric and I put it down like this. And I'll just make sure that it's positioned correctly here, that the seams match. And here at the top it matches. And now I can pin it in place. And now I need to stitch this part. Then I'll show you how we carry on. So when I start stitching here, I normally stitch and I go a bit back. And then I stitch all along the line, as you can see there, up to here, and then I go back. It looks now like this. Now with the slider still facing down, I need now first to stitch here all along this line, because that will secure it now here to the pocket, here at the top. So just here at the top, and then it's almost like a top stitch. So what you can see now is that the raw edges is now hidden there. It's between the pocket and the fabric. What you also have to do is to top stitch this one that's going to face the crocheted part. And you also top stitch it here. And so I just start back stitch it a bit and going all along the line back stitch it a bit, like I've done now with this one. I've just folded this fabric in that I can't by accident stitch over it. So it looks now like that. That will be the inside, and here it looks like this. Now I just press this zipper tabs down. That's also why they need to be of a soft fabric with no interfacing in, that they can be easily pushed down. And let me just, I don't want to now lift this. Maybe I must just put rather a pin in there, like that. And then just here the same, because it is now stitched to the fabric. Just push the tab down, let it fold there. And then we put here also a pin in. Good, so I'm ready now to stitch it to the fabric. I just don't want the fabric to lift. Let me see if I do this. Maybe it's the way that I've pinned it. There it is. So I'll now stitch all along. And now I'm ready to sew it onto the fabric. As you can see now, if we then open the pouch, this is what we will see inside. It's easier to stitch it up while it's still not now attached to the other side, while there's no lining still. So I've pinned it now in place. So now I need to now stitch it now to the fabric. So I just I've made a knot in here, and I have split this yarn that I'd left over. If it runs out, I have at least another piece like this, but if it runs out, then I'll just look for embroidery thread that has more or less this color. So I'll just now go in there at the top under those stitches. So my aim is to stitch along this line there. that the stitches sort of pulls in and you can't see the stitching. But see, I need to keep this now clear because this will be the side seams. So I did now, as I was pinning it, pushing it as far as possible to the left. So I'm going to go there under that stitch. Let me see that you can see. So there under that stitch. And now I'm just going to go in. I normally do a type of a back stitch here. I go in, then I come out under that stitch. This is normally how I sew the bags to fabric, that you can't see where it is. Like there, and now I come out here to the right of that place. There under that stitch. Now I must just keep the line, but there you can see you can't see any stitching, and that's it. So it's not necessary that this outer crocheted part is stitched to the pocket, the sewn pocket now, but it's stitched to the fabric. The sides and the bottom are now sewn up. It looks like that at the back, but remember it will be hidden by lining. Now I need to stitch this top part up, and I'm going to stitch it along that line. There where the brown stops, and I'm going to do it with this very thin crochet yarn that's very strong. I'm just going to push here somewhere the knot in. Do it like this, that the knot is, I'm going to do it like this, that the knot will be hidden there under this, and then let me go up to this here. I'm going to pin this rather in place like that. I just see it's the same amount from the top of the zipper, like this. Good. Now the aim is also that I don't want the stitches to show on the inside of the pocket, and remember we cannot now, like at the sides, let the stitches show, otherwise we sew here through the pocket and we can't do that. So I need to catch also the pocket, so let me just go in again there. So here one just make a plan, but I will show you. There must be a knot somewhere. Yes, there's a knot now. Good. Pull it through, and again there. So I come out here. Then the knot came out again. I just want to secure it well in place here at the beginning. Good. Then we can start. So now it's going through the tab. So it will be a bit harder here at the beginning. As you can see, there is the tab. The tab is already a few layers. And I need to catch the tab again. Good. So like that, I'll now carry on. Now it will be easier. Now I just feel sort of my way, and I check that I go through the outer part of the zip. And we can check within 2 or 3 stitches further, we will check inside. Stitches mustn't show on the inside. So you feel your way. But actually even this part I enjoy. When you allow yourself time to do it, then you can enjoy it. And hopefully you will have some time. Let us see inside. So because surely I'm now here, you cannot see anything. I can remove now this one. I think you know now how I stitch it up. Let me just do 2 or 3 stitches more and then we check again inside. Now it's far easier because now we pass the tab. And if I pull it really tight, then you can't see the thread at all. Good. Now we can look inside because we're here now already. And you can see there on the inside nothing shows. So now I can carry on and finish off this. The D-rings with the tabs are now stitched on. And here I have now the zip in place. I've just now pinned the tabs. If I look at the size, then you can see there are space for seams. Now I put it face down because this will be the top left. And then I can pin it in place. So my seams will be along that side. And if I look at this, here is the top. So I put this upside down because then it can fold in once I have sewn it. So now I'll just put it in place and then I'll just stitch from the end here of the tab all along, stitching the zip in place and stitch up to here and then just back stitch a little bit. Done, and top stitching is done. Now I put the front and the back that they face each other on top of the zip and I turn it around and now see that the seams are aligned. Then you just take the other half of the lining and put it on top. Then the same story. Stitch from the edge of the zipper tab to the edge of the zipper tab, and every time just a bit back stitch. I'm now on the last stage where I'm going now to stitch the two together. So for that we need to open the zip and then you just follow the instructions of the video that I show you here at the end as a card at the end of this video, and then you will see how we do the final stitching up. I'm quite satisfied with the results. The fact that this is an upholster fabric made it quite easy to work with. I thought that it will be hard to stitch through it, but it wasn't. And now here we have the pocket. I've demonstrated in full how this is done because it's just now stitched to the outer part. And then you can also decide now which part you want to be the front and the back. Although I've put the label here, my initial feeling was that I want this to be the front. But now I prefer actually this to be the front. So yes, and you can see it is lovely spacious. And inside here also I've quickly just indicated how you make this open pocket inside, and the fact that it has D-rings and 2 tabs mean that you can even hang it onto an adjustable strap and you can use it as a small handbag.